Hello guys, this video will focus upon asymptotic notation for algorithmic analysis. In previous lecture, as we have discussed, there are two types of analysis that has been performed on algorithms. One is exact analysis, other is approximate analysis. So we are interested in doing the approximate analysis of an algorithm, or we can name the approximate analysis as asymptotic analysis. For the asymptotic analysis, we use asymptotic notation that are mathematical tools to represent the time complexity of the algorithms. So the asymptotic notations is nothing but uh, some mathematical tools or mathematical representation, mathematical tools to represent the time complexity of algorithm for asymptotic analysis. Asymptotic or approximate analysis. Okay, so the approach as we can discuss that asymptotic analysis are the analysis of algorithm or the which used to measure the efficiency of an algorithm that does not depend upon machine specific constants, and this does not require algorithm to be implemented and the time taken by the program to be compared. So this type of analysis is called asymptotic analysis, and we use asymptotic notations that mathematically represent that time complexity for this type of analysis. So generally the asymptotic notations are of three types. First is big O notation, second is omega notation, and third is theta notation. Here the definition of these three notations are enlisted. So for the first definition, that is for big O notation, if we have two functions fn and gn, so these fn and gn are some function of input n, and if these two functions are given, these are some positive functions, then uh, we can say that uh, for the big O notation, if fn is said to be a big O of gn if and only if the function fn is always less than or equal to c some constant into gn for all values of n where n should always be greater than equal to some k. So here k is some constant value and this c is also some constant value. So for these two constant, this condition always satisfied. So let us draw an graph which can represent the definition for big O notation. So if in a graph this x-axis denotes the number of inputs, then the function fn and the y-axis denote the time. So the function fn can be represented as suppose this is my function fn, this is my function fn, then for this condition to be held, I need a function c of gn which always have the upper bound for all values of fn for some constant n greater than or equal to k. So let's draw a function like this. So if this function is c of gn, then this would be my n is greater than or equal to k, or we can say that this is some n node where n is greater than or equal to this n node. So for all values greater than n node, this c of gn have the upper bound than the function fn for all values of fn. Okay, so I can say that f of n here is equal to order of g of n. Okay, so this big O notation always have the upper bounds. It means whenever we do the worst case analysis of an algorithm, the worst case analysis of an algorithm can always be denoted by big O notation. Okay, now focus on the second one, that is omega notation. Omega notation is if a function fn is said to be an omega of gn if and only if fn is always greater than equal to c of gn for all values of n where n is greater than equal to k, and the c and k are some constant values. So let's understand this definition also by the graph. So if the graph represent the x-axis represent the number of inputs, the y-axis is the time taken by the algorithm, then I can say that if my f function fn is drawn like this, if this is a function fn, then there is another function that is c of gn which always have a lower bound, on some value n node where n is always greater than equal to k. So sorry, for all values of n always greater than equal to k or n node, this c of gn always have the lower bound than the given function fn. So this is the definition of omega notation. So generally we use the omega notation to represent the best case analysis of an algorithm, and it is rarely used because we are not generally interested in the best case analysis of algorithm. We are generally interested in the worst case analysis, means maximum time taken by the algorithm. What is the maximum time taken by the algorithm? So this type of analysis is widely used. Now the third and the most important one is the theta notation. Theta notation is the notation where the function is bound between the another function. So if a function fn is said to be a theta of gn if and only if this fn have the upper bound as well as the lower bound on the function gn. Okay, if it is true, then only I can say that fn is theta of gn. So if a function have lower as well as upper bounds on some other function, then only I can interrelate that this function fn is a theta of gn. So graphically these functions can be represented as if the number of inputs are given in x-axis, the number of time is given in y-axis, and the function given uh, fn is given like this. Suppose this is my fn, then there is some function uh, which is suppose c of c1 of gn, which is like this, and there is another function which is sorry, it's like this suppose. So if I consider this as a c1 of gn, some constant with gn, and here is c2 of gn, some constant with gn, then if I draw a line here, this would be my constraint n node or k. So for all values greater than or equal to n node, this function c1 of gn always have a lower bound, and this function c2 of gn always have a upper bound. So that the definition says that your function fn always less than or equal to c2 of gn and always greater than equal to c1 of gn. So for the constant c1, c2 and n node, this condition is true. For those constant, this condition would always be true. Then this function fn is said to be a theta of gn. So we need to find out the such values of c1 and c2 and n node. For those values, this condition must hold. If such case happened, then I can say that your fn is theta of g of n. Okay, So this is the definition for the theta notation. Okay, so generally the theta notation is used to do the average case analysis of an algorithm, average case time complexity analysis of an algorithm. Okay, so this is all about the asymptotic notation. These three notation are widely used in the analysis of algorithm. There are other three notations other than that, which is to be used for the algorithmic analysis, which is known as tight bound asymptotic notations, tight omega, tight theta. So we will discuss this type of notations in next subsequent lectures. Now for this lecture, let's have some problems based on this type of notations. So suppose I just fit. So suppose function given as fn is equal to n square and g of n is equal to n cube. Suppose this function is given, then which one is true? Can I say that f of n is order of g of n, or f of n is omega of g of n, or f of n is theta of g of n? So fn is given, g of n is given, which is true. So as you can see that the n cube always have a upper bound than n square. Then for the upper bound, this a condition holds. So I can say that fn is a order of gn. Similarly, if I say that some function fn is given as n log n, so fn is given as n log n, and your gn is given as n log n upon 100. So can I say that fn is order of gn? Yes, I can say that fn is order of gn. This is true. Why? Because it is nothing but equal to n log n. Okay, so this gn is nothing but it is equal to n log n if I for some constant c. So c is here is 0.01. So for this constant c, this fn is order of gn. Similarly, can I say that log n base 2 under root is order of log n base 2? So is it true or false? So it is false. No, it cannot be possible. Log n base 2 under root never be have a lower bound than this. So this function always have a upper bound. So sorry, this function never have a upper bound on this function. So this is not true. Similarly, if I say that for some value of x and y, if x is always greater than 0 and x is always less than y, then can I say that n to the power x is order of n to the power y? So as you can see that y value is always greater than x. Because the y value is greater than x, then this function always have an upper bound over this. So that's why it is true. Yes, this function, this statement is true that n of n to the power x is always have a n to the power order of n to the power y, given that this x is always less than y. Okay. Similarly, if someone says that two to the power n is not equal to order of n to the power k. So always 2 to the power n have the upper bound. So yes, this statement is true because this function has a upper bound. Similarly, if I say that n plus k to the power m is equal to order of n to the power m for some constant k, so it is true. Yes, it is true. If I say that 2 to the power n plus 1 is equal to order of 2 to the power n, yes, so if I ignore some constant, it is true. I say 2 to the power 2 to the power n is equal to order of 2 to the power n. Now it is no longer constant here, so this would be not possible and this would be false. Okay, so you can try to solve it. Take a log. So if to take a log, then it would be 2 to the power n log 2 base 2 is always less than or equal to c into some log n log base 2, or you can say that 2 to the power n is less than equal to n, so it never be possible, you cannot do this, that's why it is false. Okay, so so by these mathematical derivations you can find out whether a given function fn or gn is a order or omega of some another function. Okay, thank you very much for watching.